come on.
Maybe you've been waiting for it, let's go.
It has been a bit of time since I last posted a YouTube video. I really tried my best to vlog in the lead up to Worlds, but I did find it quite hard. There is like 2 uncompleted vlogs started on my camera that, maybe even 3, that I just started and I couldn't really finish them out, and then I wasn't happy with the product, so I didn't feel comfortable uploading them. It's definitely hard when you're putting yourself out there to do so without a lens of perfectionism, and I really try to bring a high quality to all types of work that I do. But I'm recording this and I am uploading this. We are on the other side of it now, where when I last spoke to you, I had just received my invite to compete at the World Championships, and today it is Sunday, the 28th of June. I have been home for a week. I've had some time to think about it, contemplate it, let everything sink in, and I've decided to do a bit of a recap video for my YouTube. So I do have my notes here on my laptop in front of me, so if you do see me looking down, that's why, because I just want to make sure I keep on track with all of the thoughts that I have. So in the lead up to Worlds, when I got my invite back in April, my training was going fantastic. I had just moved to doing more high frequency training across all my lifts. So as well as benching 6 days a week, which I had been doing since December 2025, I also started deadlifting 3 days a week and squatting 4 days per week. And I found that I just felt super strong and everything was going really, really well. Obviously, I received my invite to compete at 69 kg because that is the weight class I qualified in at Nationals. And I had spent some time since Nationals gaining body weight. The comp that I had originally planned to do was set as World Games weight classes, so I wasn't actually planning to do a cut for that, and hence I was sitting just under 72 kg body weight. I felt really, really strong at this body weight, and I do think that that is where I perform best in my training. I do think that I just ran into some issues being able to recover from my training when I started my deficit for Worlds, and I ended up having a few issues I had to overcome in training, and I found it hard to pick up the camera and talk to it while this was going on because I really just wanted to focus on my training session and having a good training session. My life was also just super busy. I work a full-time job. I'm a sales rep at Aleco, as well as having all my nutrition coaching clients, my powerlifting clients, and training 5 to 6 days per week, making sure I'm sleeping well, eating well. So being able to vlog and have time to edit that, which is sort of like a passion project for me, fell a little bit by the wayside. Did plan to do more vlogging when I got to Worlds because I really enjoyed the vlog that I did for Europeans in Malta. But when I got to Lithuania, I think I just felt like I really wanted to focus on being present. I really want to focus on soaking up the experience, being fully present every day, and remembering that. I got out to Lithuania on Friday the 12th of June, and I wasn't competing until Thursday the 18th of June, but this is because I also went to the competition as a coach as well as an athlete. I love coaching as part of the national team, and it's really important to me to sort of keep up that skill and experience alongside lifting, because I know I'm not always going to get the opportunities to go and lift as part of the team. I also wanted to be there to coach my own lifter, Pa, who was competing in the 47s on Saturday. Getting around to the day itself, I had been in Lithuania for almost a week at this point. I was in a really good routine. I was sleeping really well. My body weight was in a good spot. I did find being out there for so long at the competition, it definitely was a little bit harder to get into the zone, because usually I'm like working, I'm in my daily routine, and then maybe I'll fly home for nationals like 2 or 3 days beforehand, and I'm like, right, I am in comp mode now. I've left home, I'm here, it's time to zone in. But I did find that a little bit harder that time because I was already out in Lithuania and I didn't want to get in the zone too early because you'll just end up burning yourself out or getting too nervous or not being able to sleep. And I did find it a little bit hard to sort of flick the switch to get in the zone. For my squats, I had a really good prep after having to overcome some slight knee pain earlier in my prep, sort of around late April time. I was dealing with some knee pain, but we were able to overcome it, and I felt like my training was really, really strong. I actually hit 162.5 for 2 singles on my last heavy session in my peak, and I felt really confident to try go for 165 kg for a 2.5 kilo squat PB and get the blue plates on the bar. When I did my second squat, I didn't feel like it moved as snappy as I would like it to in order to jump another 7.5 kilos and go for a personal best. So I decided to focus on going 3 for 3, and we opted for a 5 kilo jump to match my PB. I think that it was the perfect call, and I was just super happy to start the day off by going 3 for 3 and having that good experience on squats. Moving on to bench press. Bench press is probably my favorite lift, and if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that my bench press training has been going incredible. I pressed 92 kg at nationals in November. I probably had the strength for 95, and then we upped my bench frequency after nationals to 6 days per week, and by New Year's Eve, so the 31st of December, I benched 100 kgs for the first time. And since then in training, I benched 100 kg 2 or 3 more times and over. I've also pressed 102.5 kg. That's my all-time PB. And then around the same time in April that I kind of was having some issues with my knee, I sort of ran into a bit of shoulder pain. Now, the pain in my shoulder never exceeded a 5 out of 10, but we did scale back my training to help me recover from it and overcome it. So I did have to go back to 4 days a week for 1 to 2 weeks, and then we continued with 5 days a week for the rest of my prep. So my frequency did go down, and I do notice that I absolutely feel best on high frequency training. Other things sort of started to arise in order to compensate for any sort of issue or pain I was having in my shoulder. I probably only dealt with pain for about 2 to 3 weeks before it was fully recovered, but I definitely started to arch more in my setup, in training, to sort of shorten my range of motion to take pressure off of my shoulder, which I think was just sort of like a natural instinct. And one of the days that I dropped of my frequency was my feet up less arch bench press, which I really love because it helps me work my bench press in a longer range of motion and means that I have more confidence in my strength off the chest. And this was one of the days that we dropped, obviously to take a little bit of stress off my shoulder, and I definitely noticed a difference in my confidence in my chest strength as a result. I Still benched 97.5 kg in training in my last training session with commands. I was really, really happy with it. And on the day, going for 97.5 kilos for a 5 kilo PB was the goal. I was a little bit nervous about getting red lights for elbow depth. I was cautious before the comp because it was my first time competing on the world stage since the rule was introduced. And then some reffing earlier in the week absolutely scared the life out of me, to put it lightly. So we opened pretty comfortable with 87.5 kg, went out, did my second 92.5. It moved really well. I ended up getting one red from the center, which did make me nervous as I was worried that the jury was going to overrule. That was left as a good lift. We opted, look, since I'm getting reds, let's go for 95 kilos. Let's lock in getting a personal best, because I hadn't hit a personal best on bench press since nationals in 2024. So I was like, let's just go 95, get it in. I pressed 95 and I ended up getting a 2-to-1 no lift for my elbow depth. So I got a red from the center referee again, and then I also got a red from the side referee. The jury did deliberate it, but ultimately they decided to leave it as a no lift. That was pretty upsetting in the moment, to press a personal best and have it be a no lift. That's not something that's happened to me before. On my bench press, missing it on a technicality, I've always just kind of failed it on strength if I was going to fail it. And while it sucks, I just have to be better. I just have to make my bench press undeniable in terms of my elbow. I was cautious about my left elbow. I had my concerns about it beforehand, and then it got red lighted. So it's in my hands to make my bench press as undeniable as I can and have it be my responsibility to take the decision out of the referee's hand, not have them have any doubt about whether my elbows are to depth or not. And yeah, I just don't want to be in that situation again where I've hit a PB and it's just not a good lift. Deadlifts were definitely my best lift all of prep. As soon as we moved up to 3 days per week frequency, I felt incredible on my deadlift. There wasn't any sort of period where I had to adapt to it, where I felt fatigued or whatever. I just felt good straight away. I did notice them start to get a little bit less snappy as I dieted. I am someone who, anytime I have gained weight, my deadlift has gone up in strength. I always feel stronger on deadlifts the heavier that I am. But they were still moving well. I hit 187.5 as my last heavy in prep, which matched what I did in comp at nationals. And I was pretty confident that I would be able to go above 190 for the first time as a 69, because I have pulled 192.5 before, but I was competing as a 76, weighing about 73.5 kilos then. My second on the day moved amazing. My warm-ups had felt incredible. I do think that that was the best 182.5 that I have possibly ever hit. And I wanted to go for 192.5 as I felt confident. I really felt like I was on for it. I was in the zone, and hitting 192.5 also would have given me a 5 kilo total PB. I ended up losing my grip. I do personally think that I gripped the bar a little bit wrong. I usually, with my overhand, have all of my fingers on the knurling, and I did put my index finger on the smooth. I also did something that I never do, and I brought my own chalk to the competition with me. I've been using the Clean Grip Strength chalk, which I ordered some and they kindly sent me some. It's really, really good chalk. I brought it all the way to Lithuania with me. And then for the first time at a comp in a very long time, I didn't use my own chalk for my deadlifts. I don't know why I did that, but I absolutely won't be doing it again in the future. I don't think, necessarily me gripping it wrong and the chalk are why I missed it. It also could have just been too heavy for the day. But I felt okay afterwards. It's a bit of a weird feeling. I haven't missed a third deadlift in competition in over 3 years. It was bound to happen at some point. And I am glad that it happened in a situation where there was nothing on the line for me. I wasn't trying to requalify for anything. There wasn't any total I had to hit or person that I had to beat. And I still feel happy that I went for it. And I just had a good experience on deadlift regardless. Overall, I am super happy with my experience. I am really happy with the day. I felt present. I had a good time lifting and I got to achieve my goal. I got to compete again at IPF Worlds as an open lifter. And that really just means so much to me to have set that goal, worked for it for 5 years, and actually actualized it and achieved it. And it was extremely fulfilling. While I'm happy with my day, I'm not super satisfied with my performance, but the missed lifts don't take away from the experience for me. It's just me as a competitor looking at my objective performance, going 7 for 9, performing below my best total. Obviously is not my best performance that I've been able to put forward, but I will learn from this and I will come back better. And it kind of sucks when you're in the moment to hear, failures are learning experiences, but they really are. I totaled more in training than I did on the platform this comp for the first time in a while. I ended up totaling 447.5 in training, which was 5 kilos over my competition best, and I really expected that I would be able to break into the 450s at this comp. And even though I didn't do that, I know that I've built a lot of strength, and that strength is there, and that with better execution and some changes that I'm going to come back bigger and better next time. So yeah, that was my experience at IPF Worlds. Next up for me will be Nationals in November. I am looking forward to prepping for that. Nationals is always the most fun competition of the year. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.